Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks. And over the last couple of days, helped somebody design a Christmas tree. And I kind of started thinking, maybe make it a little bit different. Instead of having stars connect, it's totally different, totally modern. And you could add stars into it somewhere on the lines and if you haven't watched the other videos, we actually put kids' names and the parents' names and like 2020 up top. But I was just playing around, so I'm going to take an ellipse. So I'm going to make this one quite a bit different because I'm going to use the blend tool. Then I'm going to just take my 2-point line and I'm going to draw a line just anywhere pretty in there, and then take your virtual segment delete key and delete that line. And then just go ahead and take your shapes away. These don't have to be equal. You could make them equal. Then take your artistic media tool and have it set on a brush that is tapered on one end, and then click on your item. And a lot of times it won't show up, but if you go change your stroke width, it'll change. Now we need to go to left click, right click, and also go to object and break the artistic media group apart, because you need to get rid of this line because it could be a hairline and it will engrave. We're going to make this a little bit smaller to start off with, and then we're going to Control D and make a duplicate, and then we're going to stretch this guy out, or actually make it a little bit bigger and maybe stretch it out a little bit. Then I'm going to select both of them. I'm going to hit the letter C like cat to kind of put them in the middle. Then I'm going to go to effects and blend, and I'm going to blend these guys 9 times and hit apply. And that looks almost perfect. What I'm going to do is stretch them out a little bit more and select them all and hit the 9 times. And you can do any amount. You really don't want these kind of overlapping each other like I don't have here. So let's just back up and let's just go 7. As long as they're touching, that's what we want. And this one's just not quite touching very much, but we can change that. And then what I did differently on this tree, you've got to go to object and break blend apart, select them all, go to group and ungroup them all. And then I'm going to take every other one and mirror it. This doesn't take just a second. And then we'll kind of look back, and that one's still just barely touching. So since they're broken apart, we can set our nudge factor on like 0.001, and we can actually move this guy down a little bit. We just want that nib to be a little bit stronger, and we can change it. If you hold down your shift key, it'll go a little faster. That's probably pretty good. Now we can go and weld it. So now we have this effect. And if you're happy with that, which I would be, now that we've smart filled it, don't really have to do that, but I'm going to left click, right click. And then it's just depending on whether you want, well, we did a pretty good job on this one. I've got some nibs from the pointing line sticking out, and you can easily remove that. If you have that on yours, just take away these 3 nodes, and as long as it doesn't change the curve too much. And if you didn't watch the first couple of videos on how to put a name in there, you need to watch those. Here we do have a couple, and you really wouldn't want it those sharp points. And then you can do a couple things in here. Hold down the shift key and select both of them, and then turn them into a lot. You can't really do it in this instant, so we'll just delete them. It did change the curvature a little bit, but it's a tree. It's not, trees are not perfectly symmetrical. As long as you have enough, and you could always change that back and make it look more even. Now we just need to put a star. Instead of putting a 5-sided star, I just put a 4-sided star. And I want it where it's going to touch those 2 pieces. And now we're going to weld it again. It'll weld the star in. Now, like I said in the other video, this is probably a weak point, but you can always change that by taking your nodes and just going up that line a little bit, coming down this line a little bit, and it strengthened that curve part quite a bit. Because you've got to think about that. You've got to sand this, hopefully. And then I would just take like a 1/4-inch hole, and this is really big right now. So we're going to scale it down. If you're going to use this for an ornament, you could scale it down quite a bit. And even at 8 inches, or I just cut one out today, and then take that 1/4-inch hole and put it somewhere in the star. You wouldn't want to put it right on top because of the fact that, and you could get this more evenly if you bring in an indexing line and put it in the kind of the corner of that star. Then you'll take that and it should snap if you have snap to guideline on, which I do not. So now it'll snap right to that guideline. Then take your guideline away. It doesn't have to be perfect. But if you didn't watch the first couple of videos on how to put names in here, the last one's really good. I even have one putting little bling in the words. It makes a really good Christmas tree ornament. And then if you're not happy with it, you can always kind of change the shape from there. Let's take this and left click, right click, and then open up your envelope tool. Take away these center two nodes and then make it a little bit wider. You know, if you want it more at the base, you can do a lot with it. You know, it doesn't have to be symmetrical, like I said before. It's a pretty cool Christmas tree ornament for a family to put on their tree, because you could put 2020 up here and list like 5 kids, or add more rings if there's a lot of kids. And like I always said, you could put anything on there. You could make, you know, balls for Christmas on the lines. You don't have that's probably going to take away our inside line if we weld this. But, you know, you could make them look like Christmas balls all through here. You don't even have to put names. You could put balls and snowflakes or whatever else you want in there. Anyway, I hope that helped a little bit, and thank you for watching.